I still remember my first job interview. I thought it was all about having the right answers on paper, but the way I explained myself made a much bigger impression. Have you ever noticed how much communication style shapes those first impressions?
Oh, totally. The way you get your point across can actually stick with interviewers more than your actual resume. I've seen candidates who weren't the most qualified on paper, but just nailed how they presented their thoughts. It really sets the tone for everything that follows networking, onboarding, even your day-to-day at work.
Exactly. And it's wild how many people underestimate that. Sometimes it's not even what you say, but how clearly you say it. Like, if you can break down a complex idea simply, people instantly trust you more.
That's so true. I once watched a candidate explain a messy project in just a couple of sentences, and everyone in the room immediately understood and respected their approach. Clarity just builds confidence, both ways. This all makes me think, what are the rules we should actually follow to get that level of clarity?
Great question. Let's actually walk through the 5 golden rules. First up, always know your audience. That sounds simple, but it's easy to forget in the heat of the moment.
It's funny how often people just launch into jargon without checking if everyone's on the same page. At my last job, our team started using acronyms from day one, and new folks were totally lost. So, figuring out who you're talking to can seriously change the whole conversation.
Definitely. Rule 2 is just as important: be concise. Long-winded answers can lose people fast. Sometimes, giving a short, sharp answer gets more respect than rambling on with every detail.
Yeah, no one wants to sit through endless explanations. I always feel more engaged when someone can get to the point but still sound friendly, which kind of ties into the next rule, right? Being positive and respectful?
Exactly. Positivity goes a long way. Even when you have to give tough feedback or talk about mistakes, framing it constructively can change how people react. Which brings us to the 4th rule. Listen as much as you speak.
I have to admit, that's the one I struggle with most. It's so tempting to jump in, especially if you're nervous in an interview. But showing you're engaged by really listening, that can be a total game changer.
And finally, the 5th rule. Always follow up. Whether it's after a job interview or a networking event, a simple thank you or a thoughtful question can set you apart.
I once landed a job almost entirely because I sent a thank you email that referenced something specific from the interview. It's such a small touch, but it really shows you care and pay attention.
That's a perfect example. All these rules sound basic, but putting them together, knowing your audience, being concise, staying positive, listening, and following up, they really make your communication stand out.
And honestly, these are skills you can practice every day, not just during interviews. Next time you're chatting with a coworker or meeting someone new, pick one rule and focus on it. You might be surprised by how much more effective you become.